The Biden administration's vetting process for Afghan refugees is having a lot of national security experts concerned, but the White House saying right now it's under control. Here's that.
I can absolutely assure you that no one is coming into the United States of America who has not been through a thorough screening and background check process. And there are many individuals, as you noted, who have not been through that process, and they have gone to lily pad countries as that process has been completed. It doesn't mean that that's because there's a flag. It means they have not completed their paperwork, and we were working to save tens of thousands of people. Hence, we evacuated them to these third countries.
Psaki's comments coming as officials warn ISIS and al-Qaeda terrorists released by the Taliban could enter the U.S. through our open southern border. Joining us to discuss is Lieutenant Randy Sutton, founder of the Wounded Blue. Good to see you, Randy. Thanks so much for coming back. I appreciate it. Your overall thoughts on Jen Psaki, the White House's response to the vetting process and those coming over to our country. Some of them don't have a vast background to even look through.
Well, and here we have a huge credibility problem with this administration. The open borders in Mexico have created such a dangerous environment, allowing people without any vetting whatsoever to come into the country. So when I hear Jen Psaki talking, I'm sorry, but I have a difficult time believing in their credibility and also their efficiency. They've been so blatantly incompetent in basically everything they've been doing when it comes down to immigration. So I have strong reservations because let's face it, this could be once again another dangerous situation for just middle America, people trying to do their daily living, not knowing who is among them.
You're not the only one concerned. One immigration analyst is blasting the nation's immigration system, calling that screening process a joke. In a piece published in the National Review, this analyst wrote in part, quote, "The whole notion of holding Afghans offshore until they're vetted is a charade in our dishonest immigration system. Temporary in this case means permanent. Every Afghan we extracted from Kabul will be able to live here for the rest of life," end quote. What are your thoughts on that?
We're a country of immigrants. I'm a strong believer in a strong immigration process, but one that is controlled and is legitimate. So we've seen an incredible breakdown in that system for years now, but especially under this administration where borders don't seem to make a difference. So I have strong reservations about this. But here's the reality. This has been forced down our throat before. We have been basically powerless to stop the deluge of illegal immigration because of this administration. Their policy is an open border. So as long as they remain in power, we're going to have an issue. 120+ thousand brought over on those C-17s. I think only around 6,000 were Americans. And the State Department has outlined several resettlement options for Afghan refugees that are coming into the United States under those SIV, Special Immigration Visa programs. Las Vegas made the cut. You worked as a police officer in Vegas for decades. It's a city that attracts a mass amount of people in this area. There are concerns, especially as we move towards that 20-year mark of 9/11, that we are not as safe as we once were. Your thoughts? No, I think that is a very true statement. How can we be safe if we are not making some even modicum of effort to control our border? I mean, it's been laughable what the administration has put forth when it comes down to their policies about the open border. They lying to the American public about the border's closed. How do you have any credibility as a legitimate administration when you are so willing to just simply lie to the American public and fail to control your own border? I mean, I've had a lot of interaction with our Border Patrol, and their safety has been put at risk.
We are seeing an incredible amount of post-traumatic stress injury to those men and women because they feel like they are absolutely have no control at all and have no backup from the government that they serve. So it's really a critical situation, what really kind of offends me is the fact that the media, the mainstream media, gives this administration a pass on this failed policy. I don't for the life of me understand it, but I do know this, that the more, and we have a tremendous amount of an illegal population here in Las Vegas. We have for years, but now, because we are in pretty close proximity to the border, we're seeing more and more criminal illegal immigrants.
Last point with you, I want to get this in. 20% of the country's police force served in Afghanistan, and I know that there's an event coming up, the Wounded Blue hosting this to bring attention to the rising rates of post-traumatic stress disorder. This is happening, I believe, next month. Tell me about this upcoming law enforcement conference. What can people find out about it?
Well, the Wounded Blue is the National Assistance and Support Organization for injured and disabled law enforcement officers. We have a huge population of veterans who are also law enforcement officers. They are facing an incredible amount of stress. You know, the number of law enforcement officers who've been assaulted physically last year was approximately 60,000. That's a startling number, but also consider this. The law enforcement suicide rate has become an epidemic proportions. And that is because post-traumatic stress injury is as real as a bullet. So in order to try and combat that, we are putting on the first Law Enforcement Survival Summit here in Las Vegas, October 28th. Officers, I urge you, this is every aspect of surviving a law enforcement career: mentally, physically, emotionally, relationship survival, legal survival. This is the first of its kind. This is designed to save law enforcement lives, save marriages, save relationships. And this is a critical thing that we are doing, but we have to be proactive. We can't just be reactive, because what we do is, my team is made up of all officers who have been shot, stabbed, beaten, run over, and they want to continue to serve. They are doing amazing work. We've helped almost 10,000 law enforcement officers in just 2.5 years. This team of amazing men and women who continue to serve despite their own devastating injuries. And this is what law enforcement officers need. They need to know that they are not forgotten, that they are not alone, that this is something that they can reach out to us at thewoundedblue.org. We are there for them.
All right, Lieutenant Randy Sutton joining us live there. Great work. Lieutenant, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.